I'm in this very weird energetic space right now where it feels like I'm a bit between two worlds, while at the same time, I'm seeing that I'm in a position or doing something whereby it doesn't necessarily feel like I'm at a place in my life where I've fully stepped into my worth yet. And my external reality is reflecting that back to me. And I've been asking some deep questions of myself, like, what is it that is holding me back from fully believing in the reality that I truly want and seeing myself as fully worthy of having it? Because ultimately, it is a belief that you have that is in the way of whatever it is that you truly want to experience in life. And it feels like life has just been this constant progression of hell. And I don't mean hell in the sense that it's actually hell, but there's just been so much that I've had to work through when it comes to my beliefs, when it comes to how I see myself, when it comes to what I believe that I'm worthy of and deserving of. And I get very frustrated. And I'm having this experience right now where I'm in this new position that I started 2 weeks ago. And I do like it. Okay. I think it's interesting. And I think that I like the fact that there is room for growth for me. I really enjoy that. However, there is this one person that I work with whereby I can literally feel their energy and I know they don't like me at all, which is fine. But when you're working with someone and you can feel that, it makes it very annoying and it makes it very frustrating because you know that if they're your superior and you work with them and they're supposed to help you out and help you grow, they're not going to do that because they see you as a threat. They don't like you. So they're only going to do as much as they need to do and not help you. And also, I deeply believe that I could do this job better than they're doing it. And that's not an ego thing. It's just a skill thing. It's a skill thing. And I'm thinking about why I'm in this position in the first place, right? Because I originally interviewed for that position, right? But I think the beliefs that I held about myself at the time are what have attracted this situation into my life. And I am trying to really look at it from a higher perspective and not see it as the fault of this person or the fault of the environment that I'm working in, but more so looking at myself and asking myself, what does this say about what I believe about myself? And how do I get to the root of that and shift those beliefs so that I can see a shift in my reality? And I think it's a really awesome idea to always take responsibility for your life, even though you could very easily blame people, situations, whatever. You don't actually gain anything from that. You only allow yourself to feel better because now you're putting it on something else or someone else, but that's just a way to stroke your ego, okay? Everything is you pushed out. So if you're having an experience in life and you don't necessarily love it, you literally have to look within and ask, where is that discord within myself that is being reflected back to me? Because that's all it is, right? And I'm just really trying to think about where it is that I move from here. And it's a weird kind of situation because on one hand, I feel like I'm connecting with people and I'm actually starting to talk to people and ask for help when I didn't do that before. I would just do life alone. And that was because I was jaded by some friendships that I had in the past where, in all honesty, I was a bad judge of character. I was looking at people as if they were like me, okay? And when I say that, I mean, I care deeply about people. I want everybody to win. I believe the best and think the best of everyone. But not everyone is like that. And if you are not discerning, then you are going to end up putting yourself in situations with people that is going to teach you a lesson of being more discerning when it comes to people, places, and things. And that's why I'm grateful for those experiences. And with everything that I'm going through right now, I'm just like, okay, well, in what ways am I maybe still acting out of this jaded energy where I don't want to open up to people, while at the same time, where am I still maybe being a little too naive when it comes to certain things and not being a little more discerning? And I think it's good to have that balance, because you could always question yourself, not in a sense where you don't trust yourself, but in a sense where you build trust with yourself and you listen to your gut and you ask it, what do you believe I should do in this situation? Because your gut always knows what you should do in a given situation, but do you trust it? And in all honesty, I could say before I didn't trust it. And I think one of the reasons that I've had gut issues for the majority of my life, even to this day right now, I have some gut issues, is because on a soul level, I haven't been trusting my gut fully. And that manifests in physical ailments, because your body wants to get your attention and be like, hey, you need to look at this. And until you look at this, until you analyze this and heal it, you are going to have this physical manifestation of the problem in this part of your body that corresponds to what you need to heal spiritually, whatever, right? And I think ever since I got my car a few weeks ago, I have been doing Uber Eats on and off. And when I think about one of the major reasons why I do it, I think it's to get out of the house. Genuinely. I think it's to be more by myself and to do some deep reflection and really separate myself from a lot of the energies that I've grown up around, that I'm comfortable with. And it's not even necessarily about the money for me. Like, the more I think about it, obviously the money's nice. Like, I'm going to choose the Uber Eats orders where I'm going to make the most money. Like, let's be real here. But that aside, it's really the fact that I'm spending time with myself in the car. Sometimes I'll listen to things on YouTube. Sometimes I'll listen to podcasts. Sometimes I'll listen to music. And it just totally depends on what my vibe is for the day. But I think I really enjoy my solitude. And I think I also am a bit jaded. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a bit jaded from the past. And as I'm opening up to, or as I'm meeting new people and then deciding whether or not I want to open up to those people, it is a dance that I'm learning to do, because if something doesn't pan out the way that I wanted it to, it's just going to be a lesson, right? That's how I'm looking at it from a higher perspective. And if it does, it's like, oh, well, great. You took a chance and God rewarded you, right? But that's not to say that it's not difficult. And it's not to say that you can sometimes still get into this headspace where you're overthinking an action that you took and you're like, oh my gosh, should I have done this? Was this the right idea? And if you are in that space, just know that it's okay. Even if you get it wrong, you're gonna learn from it. Nothing is ever a nail in the coffin on your life unless it's your time to go, and then you literally can't do anything anyway. So really, what's the point of freaking out about it? And I had that moment today because of something that I did. I really don't want to get into the specifics of it, but I find myself finding friends in like these random places, or connecting with people in these random places and spaces in my life. And sometimes it'll feel like, oh my gosh, we're vibing, whatever. And then it's like darkness. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Did I say something wrong? Should I have not reached out to them? Am I being too much? Am I being this? Am I being that? And that is obviously some leftover energy or some leftover trauma, I should say, from things that have happened in the past where I didn't feel like I could fully do that. And I had this belief that I really was too much and that I would scare people away. Truly, I did have that. And I think a lot of that really stems from my childhood, because I remember having a conversation with my mom and I was like, I remember doing this energy clearing thing, whatever. I don't know. I don't know if I fully cleared the energy. I clearly didn't if I'm still talking about it, but maybe this can help someone. And I remember being brought to a time when I was a toddler, and my mom, she was a young mom, right? She was like late 20s. She had me, she had my sister. She was tired, and she was just like telling me like, Sydney, can you just chill? Like, can you just not be so much, right? And for whatever reason, I internalized that as a child. And I've kind of been living my life, dimming my light, you know? Dimming my light and feeling like the best thing for me to do is to not make too much noise. Because when I make too much noise, it's a problem for other people. And in my life, because I've had that belief, right? There have been so many instances where, let's say there was a startup that I was super excited about. It was related to finance and investing, and I geek out over that stuff. Like, it's very interesting to me. I love making money. I love getting better at my own finances and learning how to invest in companies and the whole nine. So I just, did what I thought was normal. I reached out to the CEO of that company and I was just like chatting it up and like, oh my gosh, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And there's a part of me that definitely was probably trying to maybe suggest things that he should do as if I was the person in charge. Like, I'm not going to lie about that. But at the end of the day, it's his company. So if he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to do it. I think my issue was that it felt like I was ghosted in a sense. It felt like I was just left out in the cold, And I also had a prior experience at a different workplace where I was getting a lot of attention from people because I just naturally do. You know what I mean? Me just being myself, like, my energy, for whatever reason, it attracts a lot of people. And my boss was a bit of an insecure, narcissistic man who didn't like that. And because he didn't like that, I didn't get proper training for my job. And I ended up being kind of excommunicated from the company 3 weeks after I started there. And it was just this whole thing. And I got kicked out of where I was living in San Francisco. I ended up being in like essentially like a halfway house for 2 nights. And then I luckily I was on the WAG app at that time. So a request came through to do a overnight sit for 2 days for a dog. And I luckily got it because, God always pulls through for me some way, somehow. So I stayed there for 2 nights and then, I broke down and called my parents. I was like, hey, like, I don't have a place to stay. I don't have a job anymore. Like, I don't have any money anymore. Like, I literally have been fasting the past day and a half because I couldn't afford any food. Like, and they bought me a ticket that day so I could go home, right? But it's situations like that where I'm like, why do I put myself in some of these situations? But I don't even necessarily think it's fully me, right? Like, I think there is a higher power that is guiding me to do these things that literally on face value make no fucking sense. I'm just like, dude, why would I do that? Why would I go out to San Francisco with no plan, not once, but twice, and live in conditions that I don't really have to live in. Like, what's the point of me doing that? And the place that I'm in right now in my life, I'm kind of seeing the job that I have as me learning an industry fully and seeing what problems exist when it comes to this one specific thing, and seeing that there is a major problem that I could solve that could turn into a major business. And I think that's what's really grounding me in a sense, and allowing me to not do anything dire or not do anything that is going to put me in a bad situation, because I'm like, you have to take a higher perspective. It's not just about the petty little shit that's going on right now. It's really so much grander than this, right? It's so much grander than that. And it can be really easy to focus on the petty. And I think for a few days, I've been a little frustrated because I'm like, yo, this person's supposed to be like my superior, but is not giving superior, okay? Is not giving supervisor, is giving like worker person who needs to be told what to do. And that's fine. We're all in different places in our journey. Like, I'm not going to act like I know everything, because I for sure don't. I just think I get frustrated sometimes when it feels like, for whatever reason, I've had this belief that I am not as worthy as I would like to be. And that puts me in these situations where I feel like I'm answering to people who are just not as talented, not as skilled as me, and don't work as hard as me. You know what I mean? And it's like, how do I solve that? How do I break that down? How do you break that down? If you feel like that in your life, don't blame the situation. Don't blame the people. Look within, because I promise you, you're going to get more out of it if you take responsibility for it versus if you point fingers and say life is unfair. Life is unfair. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to complain, or are you going to do something about it? Sometimes the best thing you can do is literally just take a chill pill. Go take yourself out for a nice dinner. Maybe have some ice cream, watch a show, and decompress. Maybe talk to a friend if you need to, and just share your frustrations. And that's one of the things that I did. I talked to one of my friends today, and I'm just like, hey, like, I'm not crazy, right? And it's sometimes nice to just be affirmed in that way. But you also have to recognize that this is business, right? So you should not do anything that can fuck with your business, okay? Don't be one of those people who is so mad and talking shit to everyone and trying to get someone taken out, because what does that say about you if you're doing that? You know what I mean? It's fine to vent. It's fine, but only vent to people who are completely unrelated to the situation, okay? Don't vent to anybody who is in any way related to that situation, because it's not professional to do that, right? So vent, do your thing, take a step back, and like I was saying before, view it from a higher perspective and think about what you are learning through this situation and how it is helping you grow. Because if it's not a win directly, it's a win indirectly, because you're learning a lesson, okay? Things are either a W or they're a lesson. They're not a loss, they're a lesson. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to get this off my chest, because life is really weird right now. And maybe it's weird for you too. Maybe it's weird for you too. I think the energy is just like, woo. So yeah, if you like this message, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.